Logan's a good buddy of mine. He kicks butt in the creative title, real estate things, distressed, super distressed stuff, and does deals most people can't. So I wanted to bring him in here, open y'all's eyes, and luckily he said he'd come in. So anyway, I'll let you take the floor.
Cool. A lot of the deals we do are deals that most people don't want to do or are told not to do because they're not clean and simple. And in the last probably 10 years, real estate investing has just gotten, I don't know, it's gotten a lot of popularity. You've got a lot of internet information out there, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And people have gotten really smart. So the easier options in terms of flipping houses, wholesaling, all that stuff have just gotten harder and harder. There are more people in it. The market's matured as the cost of capital and interest rates gotten low for many years. Just everybody piled in, and it totally makes sense. But it's getting tougher and tougher to get decent deals. And my business several years ago was basically a wholesaling business. That's all we did. Everybody was wholesaling, and I had a little bit of capital, not a lot, but I remember thinking, I'm not going to take this money and buy an expensive car or a bigger house. I'm going to take this money and invest it in a deal. And if I can get a much bigger return, like I'm not buying a $100,000 house to sell for 125, I ain't doing that. But if I can spend 25,000 to buy a $125,000 property and resell it and make 70, 80, 90 grand after fees and stuff, I'm willing to take every dollar I got and invest it and try to grow it. And it worked. Today I got a business. I own the office building we're in with a bunch of tenants in it. I got 20 people in the office. We do about 30 to $40 million a year in transactions, and we've maintained about a 50% margin. So do the math in your head. That's what I earn. Now I split it up with a couple partners. So it's not just me earning that money, but our business has really matured to the point where I'm not immediately in deals every day. It's been years since I've done that, but probably for the first 3 or 4 years, all we did was go find deals off of wholesalers and buy them and put them on MLS. And I was unwilling to spend a bunch of time to do a wholesale deal that I could make 15 grand on, or go do a whole flip house to make $40,000. I wasn't going to do that. I would rather spend my time passing on those deals over and over. And if you look at all the deals that I passed on, millions of dollars in deals, but the deals that I waited to do were always better than those. They were always more simple, much higher dollar per hour, and very efficient use of capital. And they grew my capital in a huge way. So that's been the business. Over the years, it's developed, and I now do land development. I've got a business line that does that. I do a lot of distressed real estate. I got a commercial portfolio. But the heart of the business is buying something for less than it's worth, doing no construction, no work, and reselling it. So it sounds to me like that's where you've been headed, Travis. I'm open to take conversations, have commentary about that.
I know you and I had talked a lot about it, and I was the same. I'm like, dude, this grind of these $5, $10, $15,000 fees is like a freaking hamster wheel. But it's that keeps the lights on, pays the employees, whatever. But like, what the? I was having the same realization. You're a few years older than me, and so you have these like trajectory things. I'm like, dude, what the hell can make a better return? And that's why I started doing wholesaling. And you make, like I tell people, I'm like, dude, you can do 4 wholesales, make 50 G's, and make $200,000 if you don't want to just get rich, and make $200,000. Pretty easy.
It is. Absolutely. It's easier. Also, the parts of the business that you don't have to struggle with is the problems I saw wholesalers that had all the time. They have a contract, it's a good deal, big spread, and then you trust this buyer, you like the buyer, and you do an assignment and it reveals your spread, and the buyer turns into an asshole, and then the seller finds out and they want to crawfish on you. It's like you can't trust anybody. Everyone is always trying to take advantage of you or back out on you or some bullshit, honestly. And what I liked about buying the deals is I got a deal between me and a seller. That's private. I buy it. When I'm done, my wife got her license. She go list it on MLS for a low flat rate, couple grand. And what I paid is private. And it took this guesswork out of it. Here's a property. It's on the market. Here's the price. If you like it, buy it. You don't know anything about my process. You don't know what I paid. You don't even have a chance to get sour. And surprisingly, the people that pay the most for deals are the least sophisticated buyers. And I'll tell you, where you're going to find most of the least sophisticated buyers are on MLS with a realtor. It's probably their first 1 to 3 deals. and they many times will overpay. I've literally sold 1,000 properties in the last 10 years to people that might have overpaid, but it is not my job to build a relationship, to protect them, to look out for them. It's my job to sell some shit, and it's their job to buy it. That's it.
I like how you're doing it too, is like you said, it's gotten so competitive. Everybody's buying the same leads. Everybody's doing the same crap. You showed me a buddy of yours that spoke at one of your events is a little different. He had his like website on steroids, but that's different. Everybody's talking to the same people, but you're not. That's why I thought it was cool.
So for us, so outside of just, we buy warehouses, we buy office buildings, we'll buy land, ranches, houses, mobile homes, whatever. Any real estate product, if we can buy it for half or less than what it's worth right now, not the ARV, just what's it worth if you put it on MLS? So we can buy it for half or less, we'll take it and we'll turn around and put it on MLS. But over the last probably 7 or 8 years, I found the properties I made the most money with were the ones that had multiple owners, title problems, just missing probates. You have to dig hard to find the owners because the owner's dead. And there's three owners, but they're not a record. So all the other people that are fighting for the same leads are skip tracing that dead guy. We're Googling and finding the obituary. We're looking at the tax lawsuit to see the owners who have been searched out by the attorneys. And we skip trace those people. So for us, it's very common for someone to say, wow, no one's ever called me. And that is huge in a time like today.
Yeah. Jonathan, you said what's the best lead source? Logan, how do y'all find those crazy ass leads?
There's a couple ways to look at this. Depends on what your resources are and your experience. Frankly, one of the easiest, if people are getting into this kind of business, I just call wholesalers and ask if they had deals that they couldn't close or deals that had problems because they'll have a title commitment, they'll have the seller's contact info, and they know what the problem is. And because I'm experienced at trading them down, those are fast and easy ways to get deals. Another way I would recommend it is I determined this after several years of reviewing my work, and I found I was looking for commonalities across all these deals that had all the title problems I mentioned. And one of the common threads was they were all delinquent on taxes. And I find that when people have ownership problems, title problems, or it's a headache, or the property has needs so many repairs you can't even live in it or rent it anymore, they just stop paying the taxes. They're starting to detach. The delinquent tax roll is full of gold, and a lot of wholesalers use those rolls or that tax roll as well. But we search a little deeper so that we're getting the contact information of people that the wholesalers aren't when they're running it through the skip program. But for us, the delinquent tax list is the best. We'll also go into the docket search for lawsuits in a particular county. Let's just say Bear County. We'll go in the docket search and type in, there's certain classifications. Is it a civil lawsuit, a criminal lawsuit, a tax lawsuit? We'll search by tax lawsuit, or depending on the jurisdiction, we'll search by plaintiff because generally Bear County doesn't sue anybody. Like they're not a litigant, but the one time you'll find them as a litigant, as a plaintiff, will be in a tax lawsuit. So you search lawsuits filed by Bear County, that's a tax lawsuit roster. And we'll just click through those and we'll see owner of record, heirs who've been served. We'll copy them and paste them into a Podio or Salesforce. We use them both. And then that's who we start calling. So our best list is a delinquent tax list.
Yeah, I know you've always said that too. And it's funny, I was thinking about you the other day, man. I was on the phone with a lead and she's, we're behind buku on taxes. I've got 55 cousins. And I was like, damn. And the first person I called was a dead guy. And I was like, nah, let's just keep going. And I remembered you telling me, you're like, dude, that's where we make our money. We keep going. And this is pretty funny. I had to tell you that.
That's right. Now, one thing I will tell you, if you're looking at a house that might have a pile like 10, 20, 30, 40 dead people, our typical deal has less than 5 or 6 debt owners. That's very common. And we've done a deal that the most we've had was 65 owners. But I know, so I wouldn't recommend people usually do that. We've had several deals that had 20 to 30 owners, but those were deals we would make at least 100 grand on. And the one with 65 owners, we bought 3 properties. They're all adjacent, 3 lots in Austin, Texas, 80,000 to taxes. The remainder, we spent 200,000 on the deal. 80,000 went to delinquent taxes. The balance went to all the 65 owners split up in different amounts. We're all in for 250 and we sold it for $1,250,000. So we made $1,000,000 on that deal. So in that case, it's worth tracking down 65 people and solving all the problems that came with it. But if you got 30 owners on a $150,000 house, unless you're getting the house for 10 grand,
Yeah.
even I got a limit.
Yeah. I think I brought one to you that had 20 one time, but it was a $50,000 house. You're like, bro.
But see, those are things that you don't really know. If you haven't done it, you don't know what you don't know. And it's useful to be connected to people that are doing it because throughout y'all's normal course of business, you'll stumble across one of those deals and it's easy for you to get a little bit of questionnaires and run it by someone who knows. And if we say, ooh, that smells like a deal, or don't do it, it's a very efficient thing to do.
Yeah. So you're just getting pretty much deed signed, right? By these heirs, giving them a few bucks and getting deed signed.
So the way our process works is we'll pull a delinquent tax list. We'll filter it by a price point or a part of like a zip code or something like that. We'll make the list very small, a couple hundred, and then we'll just go to the top and pull 25 leads out. And those 25 will search the owner's name really quickly in ancestry.com and Google. We'll look for an obituary to see if it's got other owners, or we'll search the delinquent, or we'll search in the docket to see if that person's being sued for delinquent taxes. Our goal is to find the other owners, not the owner of record, but the people that have inherited it. We'll grab that information, put it in the podium, and then grab all those names and dump them into our skip tracing program and get all 5 phone numbers or 6 phone numbers for each person, dump them in there. So if you have 5 owners, 5 phone numbers apiece, that's 25 phone numbers. Put them all in the program. Then we'll go right back to the second one and we'll search it. We go to Zillow to see what the property's worth. We go to the appraisal district in the tax office. We go to the docket, and then we go to Google for obituary. Those are the 5 places we collect information to make sure the property's valuable enough, make sure there's enough equity after the tax debt, and we'll find the people. Once we fill out a list of 25 leads that is well developed, that'll be all the leads we need for the week. And within 25 leads that are well developed, there's a deal in there. It usually only takes us 25 deals to go after to get one deal, to actually get one signed.
Yeah.
Now, our process is,
That's the same thing with wholesaling. You talk to 25 people, if you're good, you get a deal. But it's not as usually as good of a deal as what y'all are getting, like for the most part.
so one of the problems that folks have is because we are calling delinquent tax properties, there's no mortgage. Because if there was a lender, they'd be paying the mortgage and putting in an impound balance or foreclosing. So if there's a tax balance, there's inherently no mortgage, which means most of the equity in most homes is covered by a mortgage. And the remainder of the amount that the property is appreciated relative to the remaining balance of the mortgage, that's the equity. Some can go to you, some can go to the prior owner or the owner. But when you're calling tax delinquent, man, there's massive equity. So that's why there's enough room to give them some and give us some. And Stephen asked, what's the docket? So I'll use Bexar County, for example. There's a Bexar County civil docket. So criminal records go in there, civil lawsuits go in there. You just go in and type in the litigant's name. So like I would be a plaintiff, maybe a property owner would be a defendant, type in either of their names and it'll pull up the lawsuit record, when the petition was filed, when they were served, when hearings, when motions, all that's happened. And there's a file that you can find in there that the original petition or some of the later filings will list all of the owners because that's a requirement to foreclose for taxes. So you can get all the names of the owners based on the work the attorney did, the research, and you don't have to do that research. So that's what it is, Stephen.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Randy, you asked what skip tracing program. What are y'all using, like True People Search?
So the 2 that we found that work the best outside of TLO. TLO is the best by far. That's what we use generally. But we also corroborate that information with Skip Genie. And what's that other one? We just added a new one lately.
TLO, you got to have some extensive clearance though, right? Or be hooked up with somebody or.
Yeah. That's why we have these other 2, because it's a lot harder to get that done. Where is this at? Hold on, let me find it. Come on, damn it. Oh, it's called Smart Skip. We use Skip Genie and Smart Skip. Those 2 have the best data of the providers that you can just sign up for, pay a fee and get it. If you sign up for their service, you're going to get it for sure. But with TLO, half the people that apply don't get it because all this bullshit. It's a credit level data program.
Jonathan, you had asked, are you going to court for a lot of these properties to gain the title and or deed?
No, we use legal concepts to cure the problems. So like the most common problems with these properties that cause them to not be able to transact would be like multiple owners, a missing probate that should have been done that was not. We'll call that like orphaned estate maybe. You have a bad document in the title history, like an unreleased mortgage or a deed with a bad legal description, or the signature block was wrong, stuff like that. You'll have judgments and liens that outvalue the property. That's another, those are the top four problems. You can solve those problems and you don't have to go to court. Now, sometimes there are disputes and you do need to go to court. Probably 1 in 20 of our files require litigation, requiring our attorney to be involved. That's we have a significant legal budget. We spend 40 to 60 grand a month in legal fees, so we're heavy litigants. But we have probably 30 lawsuits going at any point these days.
So getting served doesn't bother you anymore.
Happens a lot. But folks that are new into this business, I try to be real clear about this. Most of the properties we did for the first 3 or 4 years, we didn't get involved if it required a lawsuit or it looked super nasty. We just wanted to find deals that had big enough problems that we could negotiate the price down to get a good deal, but not so big of a problem that it was going to take forever and cost a lot and all that. We didn't want that. So I tell people, if you have the stomach and the budget and the interest, after you start to earn, you can then look at deals like that. But I don't encourage people to just jump in and do that stuff. No way. It's not efficient.
I'm gonna go through everybody here if that's cool, because I want to get you. I don't want to keep you too long. Randy, what questions do you have, man?
Yeah, I just posted one. Are you doing this nationwide or do you just focus on a handful of counties?
We started in Texas, and today we will do the states that allow alternatives to probate, similar to Texas. So, for example, Texas allows an affidavit of heirship in lieu of probate. So we'll do deals in those states. California, I don't think allows an affidavit of heirship. I think it is a required probate state.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass for sure.
So for those reasons, we stay out of those states.
Okay,
50% of the problems we encounter are just multiple owners who didn't do a probate and just can't get along with the shit or don't have the money to do it.
right.
That's half of the deal. So we stay away from those states because it goes from a 2 month process to a year long. And that's just not an efficient use of time and money.
So doing it out of like my local state, is that pretty easy to do, or does it create just because I wholesale nationwide, but doing something like this is a little different from a learning prospect, but doing it or in one or two states should be pretty easy.
Yeah, I close deals in the Carolinas, all over the place, dude.
Okay, cool. And then I think I know the answer. A lot of prop stream batch leads, you could get these tax default and
Mhm.
delinquencies. Is that a good place to do it, or are they so far behind? It's better to just go if there's like a county website to just do it that way. Being
So,
a
I
one-man
think,
show.
huh?
Being a one-man show, what would be the
Yeah.
easiest and best use of my time?
Well, first off, I was a one-man show for about 3 or 4 years, and I got to the point where I could make between 750 and $1 million net a year, and that's about where I capped out. I needed more resources. I was just unable to do more, but that's still, you can get a lot done. Hire one assistant, and you can do great at it. But a delinquent tax roll doesn't change that often. The only time new people get added to a delinquent tax roll is once a year when the new roll comes out. Either they paid up or they didn't. And usually when people start to get delinquent, man, they don't get caught up.
Right.
So for us, we'll order a delinquent tax roll in March or April after the deadline to pay is passed. Because if you order in January, a million people just haven't paid on time, but they're paying, and you'll have a delinquent tax roll. It's massive, and everybody pays, half of them, 2/3 of them pay up. So wait till after the first quarter's over, order your delinquent tax roll for the county you're interested in. I use that same list all year, man. You can get it from the county direct, you can get it from Batch, or you can get it from all these places will offer it. All you need to know is, are they delinquent on taxes? What's the address? What's the owner's name? Outside of that, you can do a little research and nail it down.
Okay, and one other question. I know like here in the hotels group, we want to keep like a repair budget under 10,000 or less. Do you have that same mindset with these, or are you open to bigger projects? If it's like 30, 40,000, what's like your cap on that?
I have a repair budget of fucking zero. No, here's what I do. I want the property to be presentable. I will not rehab. People can rehab, but I've probably rehabbed a couple hundred houses early on. And at this point, I've done probably 1,000 deals where I just buy it, clean up title work and resell it. Your return on acquisition and paperwork is far superior to your return on construction. So when we buy a house, I just want it to present, and I'm not talking about cleaning it. I'm just talking about haul the trash out of it, cut the grass, trim the trees. If it's a rural land and the fence is busted, patch the fence. If the gate's broken, patch it. If you need to get like a machine to go in there and clear a little path so a person can drive off the road into it, do that. But we just want to be as presentable as possible for what it is. But I am not doing repairs. I don't care if it needs a roof repair and I'm going to make money on that roof repair. I do not care. I'm going to clean the place up, put it on the market and sell it. And that's it. So technically my budget might be $10,000 or less, but it includes no real repairs. It's cleaning.
Got it. Okay, cool. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You got it.
Anybody else got anything? I want to get Logan out of here. I told him I'd get him in and out in 30 minutes. He's a busy dude. All right. Oh, there you go.
I was trying to find my button. I got 8 screens going here. How I would like to connect with Logan. How do I do that? Is that okay with you, Logan? Can we
Sure.
connect?
A great place is Instagram. Me and my team manage my Instagram platform, full transparency. I don't spend all my time in there and there are hundreds of messages, but collectively we do a good job of managing all those inboxes and working with people. Like I said, I've got 19 other people in my office. So if there's a deal to review or something, we have a process for that.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
And just plugging Logan's program. He does do coaching too, but I don't know when it's open and when it's not. So y'all can reach out to his Instagram and check on that too.
Yeah, I've got a coaching group right now. Hold on, I'm gonna send you all this link. I've got a coaching group right now. It's full. We do 30 people twice a year. The next session opens up in July. They're usually about 4 to 4.5 months, more or less. Trying to get this link, I can send it in here. Come on.
One of them posted loganfulmer.com. Is that it?
Yeah, that's my website. What the flip?
Is that just on basically the tax liens and all that, or what's the program cover, the coaching program?
So the coaching program is specifically curative title work. It's distressed property acquisition. So we're going out and basically coaching folks up to figure out how to pick a market, how to pick your programs, platforms, and systems, and approach that market, deploy resources there, and start to get inbound leads. And then once we do that, we look at the leads and say, all right, how do we negotiate this? We only take people that are making their living in real estate currently. So we're not taking people from like a sales job into real estate. We're taking real estate people who are from good, we take them to better.